today's GEA UWS Spotlight. After taking a week off, we are back, and today I am welcoming on former Marion High School and Elite Girls Academy graduate Delaney Stekr. Delaney is a junior for the Minnesota Gophers now, and she is coming off a relatively successful spring season as an individual and probably wanted it to go a little bit longer as a team. Welcome, Delaney. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So we're going to jump right into the questions because I have quite a few of you, and we're going to talk about your time before Minnesota, your time during Minnesota, and then obviously this summer being with the GEA UWS team. So what was your experience like growing up in Omaha and playing soccer for strong high school program, strong high school program in Marion, and then obviously a strong club team and program in Elite Girls Academy? I mean, you won, I think, four or five state cups with EGA and with
Mhm.
Toro before then. And then you also won 2 state championships with Marion. So what was it like just being strong soccer all the time?
Yeah, I was really blessed because I got to play at like great soccer programs everywhere I went. Like some girls have to like play on high school teams that aren't as great, and I just like the level didn't really drop for me. And I think like it was really cool, especially because I knew I wanted to go to Marion since I was little. So I like was always watching these like super good girls play soccer, and it was just crazy. And I kind of like it like set the norm of like everybody goes to these big schools and everybody's really, really good, and that's just not the norm, but that's just kind of how my mindset was. And I think Marion especially was super cool for me because I was like I got to play with those girls that I grew up watching, and so it was a little surreal, but it was really cool.
Yeah, and I think that's something I have always appreciated about Marion two things is that there's that very cool community. And I went to a private school when was growing up, so I understand that community piece of it and wanting to be and wanting to play with the athletes you watch. But then I
Mhm.
also always love the support that you would get at the state tournament from Marion, like from the student section, like crazy student section, which was
Yeah,
awesome. So,
it's super
um,
fun.
moving into your recruiting process, so I watched you play, especially like your sophomore, junior, senior year when I was coaching at Wayne State College, um, and everyone's journey is different. You were one of the few Nebraskans who was playing in the Big Ten. You might be the only Nebraskan who's playing in the Big Ten, and not for the Huskers. So, how did
Yeah.
you decide on Minnesota, and like how did your recruiting process go for you?
Yeah, so I got recruited before all the rules about, like, age got set, so I
Yep.
think, like, the first time I started, like, getting like, calling college coaches was when I was, like, probably 14, like, I was in 8th grade, I think, and then I was, like, taking visits my freshman year, and I think by, like, the summer before my freshman year, I was pretty sure I wanted to go to Minnesota, and then I actually took 2 visits to Minnesota because I, like, just wanted to I went the first time I went, it was, like, the middle of January and freezing. And
Yeah.
so I still love the campus and stuff, but I kinda wanted to see it in the fall when it was a little less
Nicer.
covered in snow.
Yeah.
But my parents really kinda left the decision up to me. I was looking at a couple other schools, in the Big 12, but, I just really kinda felt comfortable at Minnesota, and coming from Marion. Marcus was obviously a male head coach, but all my coaches at Marion were all women. And
Hmm.
so I kind of enjoyed that I thought it was really cool that the head coach was a woman, and actually most of the support staff was women at the time, and so that was really cool for me. And I knew that also school-wise, I wasn't super confident in what I wanted to do, but I knew that, like, going to a big state school, like, if I changed what I wanted to do with my major, it wouldn't really be a big issue. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Minnesota's a great school, and like you
Mhm.
said, you're lucky to have such a great staff. I just know Coach Golan just very peripherally. She probably doesn't know who I am, but I do know Sarah Johnson, who's your director of
Oh,
ops. Um,
SJ, yeah.
SJ, yeah. I
Mhm.
recruited a player that played on one of her club teams, so I got to know her well, and I really like her. So you're very
Mhm.
lucky with a strong staff, and so the first 2 years at the
Mhm.
Gophers it's always tough being a younger player and you were kind of in and out of the lineup at Minnesota, playing a little bit sometimes, not playing very much at other times. But this
Mhm.
spring, like you stepped up and played a huge role for the Gophers. I mean, you played in all 12 games, you started in all 12 games, and because you there are so many of your games that went to overtime, you played on average of 95 minutes per game, which is ridiculous. What have been some of the low points or the hard times in college and at college with college soccer at Minnesota, and what have been some of your high points?
Yeah, I think I mean, you kinda touched on it, but my freshman year was pretty tough. I came in, and I growing up, I've only not only, but I regularly played center back at club, and I had never played outside back before, and I got put in and I was starting for most of the season as an outside back, and then, kinda without really a lot of notice or, like, communication from the coaches, I just kinda stopped playing, which is not, like, unusual, but I think it just kinda shook my confidence for a while. And I think, like, kind of the turnaround point was I just kinda decided, like, I had to like, it was nothing, like, if the coaches didn't believe in me, it was alright, like, I just had to do it, like, just prove to them, I guess, that I was good enough to play, and I think, I don't really have any specific high points, but I think that, like, throughout my career, like, my freshman year, I played with some unbelievable players, and I, like, have continued to, but, like, I think that I've just learned so much from the players that I got to play underneath, just, like, from a soccer standpoint, but also, like, a life standpoint. I think that, like, the players that I play with and my teammates are just phenomenal.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing to bring up too is that like you got to experience some good things off the soccer field too. And you know, it's always hard in that college. I think that's something young players always learn at the college level is that you know sometimes you just stop playing and there's not always
Mhm.
that communication piece. But it's great to see you bounce back. It was fun. I was able to watch a couple games and I thought you played really well this year. Obviously, you had a big game against Purdue where I think
Mhm.
you scored the goal, right?
No,
Or
I just had the assist.
you had the
Yeah,
assist.
so
Okay, you
forward.
had the
Yeah.
assist, and then it was a shutout though and a 1-0 win, right? I believe.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think I
Yeah.
got that part right. So,
Mhm.
but speaking of high points, we were talking off air. You are going to be graduating at the end of this spring with your undergrad, and you're
Mhm.
like you explained to me, you're taking master's classes already, and from Coach Golan's tweet, it sounds like you are going to return to Minnesota for your senior year. Can you talk about kind of what you graduated with and what path you're heading on and what you want to do after soccer?
Yeah, so for my undergrad, I double majored in political science and history, and I haven't graduated yet. I have a couple finals left, but
Okay.
I my school has been a little weird. I in the last spring applied. I'm in like an early enrollment program for our graduate school, and I've been taking undergrad and graduate for and my master's is in public policy. So for my fourth year of eligibility, I'll be finishing my master's. And then, my 5th year, I'm not super sure what'll happen. I'd love to keep playing, but we haven't really talked too much about it
Yeah,
yet.
there's still a long way to go, and I think that
Yeah.
you're taking a good approach to it, is taking it one day, 1 month, 1 season at a time, and I think the one thing that was incredible to me that you told me off air was that you almost regularly were taking 18 credit hours, which for people unfamiliar with college, that is a full course load that without being overloaded. And to do that as a student athlete, especially at the Division 1 level, is really impressive. And what what's the key to success there with being with like that type of balance? Like, do you have any tricks to the trade? Because I don't think I could do that, to be honest.
Um, I just really always knew, like, I honestly would, like, give myself, like, due dates for things that were, like, earlier than when they were actually due, so I, like, wasn't as stressed, and I think, like, I always go to bed really early, so I think that, like, getting a bunch of sleep helps me to be able to be a little bit more productive during the day.
That's a good habit to get into because once you
Mhm.
get out of college, there isn't late nights in like the middle of the week are a lot less easy to bounce back from and a lot less acceptable in the work for the workplace of being late. So,
Yeah.
switching gears now for the summer, you are an addition and a part of the GEA UWS team, a team that has a great roster, a lot of players who you are familiar with, and you're going to be part of an interesting defensive back line because we have some players in the team that are very, very experienced, like Jalen Bosock and Jalen Armstrong. And you're probably counted among those of having the experience. And then you're going to have some players who are just going to be entering college or have spent 1 year in college. Um, how do you like what are your feelings about heading into this summer?
I'm really excited about this summer. I think, like, I don't know a lot of the, specifically, like, the defenders very well. I know Mackenzie Bovey, we've just, like, played on the same club forever, so I
Yep.
know her, but, I haven't really had a chance to play with a ton of them yet, but I'm really excited. I think that, like, I think our team's gonna be really good, so I think it'll be a lot of
Oh,
fun.
yeah, it's like I'm excited to be involved just because of like the talent on the field is gonna be just it's like it for me it's as a college coach who has over the last 6 years watched Nebraska high school and Nebraska club. It's always like, what if we could play these two players from this club on this or these two different clubs on the same team, or these two age groups, these two high schools on the same team, and now we're kind of doing that. Um, so any specific players that you're excited to play with? Like no pressure. Kenzie Coons said that she was excited for a club reunion with you and Emma Wilson from UMKC. So I'm sure that you're probably excited for that to join them. But anyone else that comes to mind that you're looking forward to maybe getting to know better or playing with?
Yeah, I'm super excited to play with those 2. They're always really fun. We played on the same club team for, like, probably almost 10 years, so we know each other pretty well, but, Kasia Anderson, I played, high school with her for a couple years at Marion, and I always have loved playing with her, so I'm really excited to be able to play with her again.
Cool, that's awesome. And yeah, I remember vividly watching your club team when I was recruiting for college, and I always felt bad for the other team because they had to try and they had to get past the center midfield of with Kenzie and Emma in it. And then like if they did get past, they had to run it like you and Emma in the center of the field was always a tough out for teams. And I think UWS teams are gonna sense that this summer a little bit too. So
Yeah, hopefully.
what are your goals? So you're gonna be playing a lot of soccer over the next few months. Like you played a lot this spring
Mhm.
because of COVID moving the season. You're gonna play this summer and then back at it in the fall. What are your goals individually and then as a team for this summer?
I think as an individual, my main goal is to just try to stay in, like, as best a shape as possible and to try to stay healthy, and I think, I'm just really excited to play games, like, we just had such a long time where we couldn't play any games, so I'm excited to get some really competitive games in, and I think as far as the team goes, I think that, like I said, this team's gonna be really good, and I think that we probably shouldn't drop many games, so I think that's probably the goal is to drop as few games as possible.
Yeah, and I mean, we're gonna talk about your current GEA UWS coach, but also your former club coach, Marcus
Mhm.
Kelcher. Really
Yeah.
competitive guy. And I know that in working with him on this, especially not just the on the field product, but everything he wants to do for the players and even like
Mhm.
setting up the technology to be able to do a show like this. Like he wants this to be the real deal and it's going to be the real deal. And the team's going to be very competitive. Um, what role did Coach Kelcher play in your development and journey as a soccer player? Because, like you said, the rules have changed since
Mhm.
so the recruiting rules have changed quite a bit. So, but what was his role? What was it like to be coached by him for a long time throughout your club development?
Yeah, I mean, I really can't say enough good things about Marcus, but, he played a huge role in my development, but also, like, I would give him complete credit for, like, any recruiting attention that I got, like, I don't know, he just was always, like, reaching out to coaches for players and, like, without even, like he just was always putting us before, like, anything else, and it was really incredible to see. He'd just be like, "Hey, this coach, like, thinks that you're good," and it's not most of the time, it wasn't anything I did, it was him sticking his neck out for me and saying, "Hey, I think she's pretty good," but, he's definitely like a tough love coach, and that's not something that everybody appreciates, but I don't think I would be anywhere near the player that I am right now without that, and I think, like, college workouts and, like, college fitness is the next level, but, like, without the stuff that, like, he put us through, I probably wouldn't have been able to get through it.
Yeah, and I think your answer mirrors a lot of the other answers. Like he Marcus knows how to push all of you, and I think he's gonna
Mhm.
push people this summer. But I know that he also is super loyal to all the players that he has worked with and very passionate
Oh,
about
yeah.
getting them and also showcasing. Like that's part of this thing too, is he wants to showcase the uh amazing young women's soccer players we have coming out of this community because there's a ton.
Mhm.
So um, you know, I've really enjoyed watching you grow as a player from club. That's why I really like being involved in this because I've watched a lot of these players on this GEA UWS team from when you were 14, 15 years old in high school and club, and
Mhm.
now you're in college and watching you play in college. And then you've always been a force on the field, and obviously you're a really good student. You talked about some tips for that. What are some? tips for success? Because you said you looked up to players who played at Marion that were very, very talented. Marion's always been good.
Mhm.
There are definitely players who have looked up to you and continue to look up to you. What would you tell them of how to get to where you want to be, or how to get where they want to be, which is where you are?
Yeah, I think, like, the easiest thing to do is just, like, kinda treat soccer as a gift. I think if you treat it as a privilege, like, and you work hard and you're gonna like, good things are gonna come. Like, it's so much easier to work harder or, like, get through, like, tough workouts or get through a bad day when you're, like, treating soccer as a gift and you're grateful for what you're able to do. So I think that mentality has been it's been a little bit of a change for me that I feel like has helped me a ton.
Awesome. That's really important to hear, especially in this last year where we lost that gift for a
Mhm.
little bit in a lot of
Mhm.
ways. Um, I think we all truly appreciated how much soccer means to us as individuals and then also as a team. So before I let you go, I do want to ask you talk a little bit of non-soccer with you. So I have a lot of family who lives up in the Twin Cities. I have a lot of friends who live up in the Twin Cities. I've been up there. I grew up in North Dakota, and we used to play soccer tournaments in the Twin Cities all the time. So I've coached there, played soccer
Mhm.
there, spent way too much time there. But what do you like most about living up there? I know you don't have a lot of time between soccer and school, but what are some of your favorite places to eat? What are some of your favorite things to do since you've lived up in Minnesota?
Oh, um, I love living here. I feel like one of my favorite things to do, they haven't had them open as much since COVID, but like my teammates and I love to go to like there's always farmers markets in the summer and I feel like there's like different outdoor concerts that are like really casual that you can just get like tickets to super easily and
Yeah.
it's just really fun. Favorite place to eat? There's like a burger place called Red Cow that's really, really good. That's
Okay.
probably like my favorite like go out to eat place. Yeah.
So, and I hope you're gonna have my back on this. I tell people when I moved down from North Dakota down to Omaha or like Nebraska and then eventually to oh, we lost you for a second there. Are you good?
Oh, yeah.
All right. No, so I was saying like the one thing that I told people that is an or a positive of moving to Nebraska, and then they say they don't understand. I always tell them the weather's way better down in Nebraska than it is in Minneapolis. And like, right? Like
Yeah.
it it's way colder and there's way more snow. Like people don't understand how much of a
It's
difference it is.
it's like a different kind of cold too. Like it just like hurts.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah.
I always say, like, that's like an understated benefit of moving when I moved south 2 states was the
So
weather is so much better. So, what do you miss most about Omaha? I mean, obviously family and friends and stuff, but like what are some things that you enjoy doing when you come back to town?
um I'd say my family I probably miss the most, but I miss, like I actually last weekend, I got to come back because it was field day for Marion, and my little sister goes there, so I got to watch field day, and that was really fun, but I think just, like, there's like actually, no, the thing I miss most is the zoo. I haven't gone to the zoo in so long because it was closed during COVID when I was home, and I it's just been a really long time, and I miss the zoo.
Did you get to go when you were back or you haven't gone yet?
No, not last week, but no, I gotta go.
Okay. Well, let me know when you go because I have a fortunate enough, my girlfriend works at the zoo. She's the zookeeper with the
Oh,
gorillas. So let me know. Maybe I can if she's working, we can do like a special thing behind the scenes. So
okay.
the zoo is awesome. But
Yeah.
Delaney, thank you for taking your time. I know you have finals to study and to study for and to get ready for the end of your spring and then coming back down here to Omaha. So I know you have a lot of fans down in the Nebraska and Omaha area rooting you on, even though you play for the Gophers. They're probably cheering you on, except when you play against the Huskers. But we want to encourage all those same fans to come out and watch you play this summer for the GEA UWS team. So thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
And that was Delaney Stekr. Apologize for some of the technical difficulties. I think that was on my end. But tune in. We've been busy with at Nebraska Soccer Talk with different stuff for high school, but we're still going to make time for GEA UWS team stuff. And we are 2 to 3 weeks away from getting into training and eventual exhibitions and scrimmages, and then the regular season hits in June, and it's going to go fast. So stay up to date with us. Stay tuned in, because we're going to keep bringing you more and more content every single week. Have a good night, everyone.